Hello, my dear fellow friends and fellow travelers. Welcome to Chris Lee Travel Channels. In today's episode, the fourth episode of my travel journey to northern Pakistan, I'm certainly going to bring you some very interesting places along the journey. And our journey today will be fairly short. But anyway, let's look at this Pakistan map. And Pakistan is an Islamic nation, and what we are traveling to this part of the country, we are actually cover all the northern section. This is for those who are first time journeying me for these travelogues. If you like my travelogue, please subscribe and give me a moral support, so that I can produce more interesting, informative travelogue to share with all of you. So the journey today will be basically cover from Skardu to Shigar. It's a road trip journey, and at the same time we will be then placed a night stay in a small town, the Shigar town. Topographically, the place that we are visiting will be as shown in this map. You can see the area that is brownish in color are representing the high ground. This is actually a topography maps, and our covering of this region is not far from the border to India. You can add in the eastern side of this section of the Pakistan. You can see that actually we are border to Jammu and Kashmir under the administration of India governments. So Srinagar was just at the bottoms, right at the bottoms of the place that we are visiting. So the journey today will basically cover from point 6 to point 7, and although it's a short journey, as I mentioned earlier, but the journey do bring us some excitement, some prestige. So this is the aerial view, some of the images taken using drones at this Skardu down before I depart, heading north to Shigar in the early mornings. And you can see the Indus rivers is set in view. A very costly town, and with quite a low populations. In fact, in this region, the population count is considered among some of the lowest, although it's near to the main road, but still considered a very low populated regions. So after leaving from the Skardu down, as we drove northwards, and not far from the Skardu down, we came across these flat highland plateaus, and the name of this plateau, or rather they call it the Sarfaranga Desert. And let's have some idea of this Sarfaranga Deserts. Now, the exact location of Sarfaranga Desert, as shown in this map, is just a short distance away. And now Sarfaranga Desert, also called the Skardu Cold Desert, and is located at a height of about 2,226 meters above sea level, and on the way on the main trunk roads to Shigar, right? At a distance of about 10 km from Skardu. Now, it's about 30 minutes drive from Skardu town in the Gilgit-Baltistan, Pakistan regions, which is cannot be missed if you are taking the journey to Shigar. Now, the desert is known by a short name. Most people call it the Katpana Desert, while some call it the Belma Nagpur. But anyway, the official name will be Sarfaranga Deserts. Now, desert technically stretches from the Kaplu Valley to the Nubra in Indian administrated Leda district, and it's the larger desert, right? Area that is the and the most of the desert area are found in Skardu and the Shigar valleys, and both of them are between the Pakistani administrated territories. Now, nature unfolds itself with a vast variety in this desert, and the desert is surrounded by mountains, and the Indus River is flowing nearby. The desert contains large sand dunes that are sometimes covered in snow during the winter. Now, sunset is beautiful here, and the calmness of a desert is at its best at a surprising and memorizing experience when a sunset at top of the sand dune. So I will recommend that a visit here. You can visit all day or all year round, but a visit during winter is not a bad idea. Now the lesson beside have large sand dune and near the Sarfaranga village, which is a phenomenal place to spend while visiting these deserts. Now the wind is strong here, and the persons visiting here can see the sand dunes. Shifting ship is a moving sand dune. People visiting Safaranda deserts found it amazing, and to see the dune change their shape over time, and due to the strong wind, of course. And the desert is the perfect place for stargazing at night under the clear sky. So splendid white sand hill or sand dunes are a major part or and attractions of this desert, which enchanting its beauty, particularly during the winter when the sand dunes are covered in snow. Right? So, so this is just to indicate the location of these Safaranga deserts, and this is the view of the Safaranga desert. And during the winter here, the temperature of the deserts fall to minus 10 degrees Celsius and sometimes reaches minus 25 degrees Celsius at the extreme. Now, at times, the October months, temperature could also reach the average low. So, if you're afraid of cold, of course, your visit will encourage to visit during the month of August. I have suggest August till October, right? Well, during the summer month, it could be hot, but then, however, it's still because of high altitudes, so it's not as extreme hot as at the low ground or lowland area. So this I'm going to share with you some images taken, and these images taken, some of them is right on the desert, and some are using a drone to fly over. And sometimes the desert, they beside being called named as a cold deserts, right? And it's also sometimes people like to call it the white desert because when they cover with snow, it gives a perfect scenery and view, which rarely come across due to its high altitude. Right? So this is images taken on a drone, and the main trunk roads happen to cut across this desert. That's why I say that it can't be missed if you're on the journey from Skardu to Shigar. These images are taken while on the roads, and as we a thing to share that when we stop at the Shigar town, a small little town, and we put a night stay at this Concordia motel, and you do give us some surprises. And for example, the surrounding is very scenic, and on top of that, the place of stay is a bit tradition, and although it's basic, but you get to feel of how the local in the ancient time, how they stay, and this is considered one of a very popular hotel in these regions. You have a nice pool right in front of the place of where we stay, and at the back, the mountain form the backdrops. And this image taken from the drone above, and to share with you the size and of this hotel or motel, and the place of stay is as shown on the left hand side of this image, and then on the right you saw there is a building, and this where the restaurants, and between the place of stay and the restaurant, then you can see there's some empty compound, and in one of the spot you can see like a horseshoe shape that is actually a plastic chair in place, is where we have our campfire during the night. So this is in the view of the interior view of this Concordia motel, and you have a very beautiful, not all the hotel room have this extended balcony as can be seen in this image, and the hotel I stay happen to be is one of them. Of course, this hotel does not equip with any heating facility, and therefore at night it's pretty chilling and cold, particularly when you visit at the late autumns and winter. It can be very very cold, particularly during winter. A picture taken at the corridor, and you notice that the hotel room still using the very traditional locks, using a padlock to lock it, so you don't lose the key, you may have problem to have it open. And we then take a tour of the street of Shigar, a small little village town, and this is some of the side view, street scenes. The people here are still very much relying on agriculture, and also pottery for a living. During autumn and winter, the climate here, the weather here is pretty dry. You can see most of them have dried their crops, placed on top of the flat roof. These some kindergarten childrens, and more straight scene. Some of the kid captures while we are on the moving bus. One of the school nearby, primary school nearby, more toward the town center. And the people here are hyper friendly. I will use the word hyper in the sense that when they saw us, it welcome us, and they smile at us. And taking picture of them is not an issue at all. In fact, some of them even inviting us to take picture of them and with them as well. And the scenery around this village also breathtaking. It can be seen from all these images and all subsequent images I'm going to share with you now. Our visit was during the autumn, so you can see there's a leaf on the trees start turning into goldish yellowish colors. It's not at the peak of the autumn season as yet. The Himalaya mountain range is still a distance away, but it does, even at this location, it does give a very scenic landscape. One of the small stream that we walk to our lunch place, and we have a lunch at this Shigar Fort. Is and then after our lunch, then we have a tour of the Shigar Fort, and it's also is very popular tourist spot and historical place to visit. And Shigar Fort mean the fort on rocks is an old fort of Balistan and in Pakistan and located in the town of Shingar, and it was built in the 17th century and by the Raja of Amacha dynasty of Shingar. Now the fort has been restored by the Aga Khan Cultural Surveys of Pakistan and Pakistan arm of the Aga Khan Historical City Program, under this program. And after restoration, the fort was converted to a museum and a luxury hotels managed by the Serena Hotel. And the restoration process took place from 1999 at just before the turn of the millenniums to 2004, and the cost approximately US $14 million. Now, Shingar Fort located in the Mount Shingar district and of the Gilgit-Baltistan, and the Raja Hassan Khan, the Amacha, in the actually during the Amacha dynasty regimes, built this fort as mentioned in the 17th century. This fort is almost 400 years now, and wood, stone, and clay has been used in this construction. In the construction of this fort, all the craftsmen from Kashmir were invited to build the fort along with them. The local people also participated in the constructions. Now, this Shingra Fort is also known as the Phong Ka. The word Phong means large stone, and Ka is fort in Baltic language. The Shingar Fort is a perfect rehabilitation of the original structures. This is because the fort is on top of a rocks and almost 32 kilometers away from Skardu city. Now the fort has been bringing back by the Aga Khan Cultural Service of Pakistan, and after reinstitution, the fort was changed to a museum and opulence hotels running by the Serena Hotel chains. Now, the restoration operation occurred, as I mentioned earlier, in the 1999 to 2004, and more than 70% of the revenue that spent on the care of the people of Shingar Valley and the castle. They mean that from the collections, from the sales of the ticket of while visiting this fort, the revenue generated, they have been used in this manner. Now, this castle has been made a magnificent place for tourists, also regarded as a protective heritage of the region's heritage. Now, the Royal Hall in it has been turned into a museum where all utensils, cabinets, jewelry, and royal letters are kept. Now, the fort also have a historic mosque. There's a room in the garden about which it was famous that the Raja, after the palo, polo match, spent some time. The important thing is that this room has been have a 12 pillar, and these 12 pillar are very uniquely constructed. I will share with you in the subsequent images. So let's move on the images before I carry on more on the background of this fort. You can see that from this aerial view, we have a garden on the left. It's called Bakhane Gardens, and then we on the rightmost, right at the entrance, there's a restaurant, and next to the restaurant is where the Shigar Fort, and it was built on the rocks, but and next to the foothill of a tall mountains. So this is the exterior facade and view of this Shigar Fort, and you can see that it's a use of combination of clay, stone, as well as timber. The integration of this building material have made this fort durable and lasting. This is the place where I say that is where the Raja having a rest after a polo match, a polo games, on this small little building. So you can see the 12 wooden columns, and the base is well supported by a carved stone base. And on one corner of the gardens, you can see that there are some rows of rooms being built, and that is where the tourists can put a night in. It's actually have been said to converted into a tourist resort hotel. And this is a place we have our lunch. It's a buffet lunch, been served the local Pakistan cuisine, and we're just right next to a small stream. And this is the garden I've mentioned just now, next to the fort, and in between the fort and the restaurant. So more exterior view of this resort or this fort, Shigar Fort, and this is the place, the entrance to this some of the hotel guest rooms at this end, and this is some of the external view of the on the other side of the fort, where facing the gardens. This fort have some very extravagant and intricate wood carvings. As mentioned, that this fort is about 400 years old now. And this is where at the museum sections you can see that they displays all the furnitures and wood carving books. You can see all this in these rooms. Of course, you can, from the image here, you will notice that this is a kitchen area. This is just a closer view of the entrance to the guest room. And this is the mosque, the only mosque, a small little mosque where they have the prayer. And this is the interior view of these hotel rooms. If you like to open a night, you had to make some pre-book because there's not many such rooms available. So this will be the share of my today travelogues to this beautiful Shigar little town. And in the next episode, I will share with you the fifth uh, episode of my travelogues. And please stay tuned. At the same time, as I said earlier, please support this travel channel by subscribing and share it to your friend and family, so everyone can be like you, travel virtually at the comfort of their home. I hope to see you again in the next episodes, and bye.